Hey everyone, great to see some familiar faces. Hey Ian, hey Ricky, hey Francis, hey Rick and Ricky. Cool. So today we have something very cool that I wanted to share. This is something that I've had my head down working on for quite some time. And that is a reimagining of our UX UI in our system. Excuse me. So what we've done is essentially taken the concept of wireframes and rebuilt our UX UI so that they look like wireframes, but they're fully skinnable however you want. So I thought today might be fun to jump into a kind of brand, a fake brand brief from a client and work through how I would manage it in Pictor. So does anyone have any questions before we get started? For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, I tend to go a little bit fast. So if you need me to slow down, turn on your microphone and blurt out, ask me to slow down. Ian knows that. And also, I like to think of these as creative sessions. So if you have questions throughout today, please do turn on your microphone and blurt out. Because I'm just one person and I'm running the webinar, I don't actually get to see the chat and do all the things that I'm doing. So you really do need to turn on your microphone and blurt. The other thing that's really neat is that this feature is so new that the OutSnap team is actually here today seeing it for the first time as well. So we have Raul from our team and Francis from our team, and you might see some other OutSnap folks join as well. So this is really a first look for everyone. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and open up a doc on the screen down here. Give me 1 second to pull it up. And as I mentioned, this is kind of a fake client briefing. This would be what we would essentially receive from a client or an agency requesting us to move forward with an event or put in an RFP to make a pitch. So the fake client for today is Pepsi. They have a very notable brand, which we're all pretty familiar with. And they, I think it was 2023, actually put out their new logo and new cans and everything, but we're pretending that happened today or is about to happen soon. So Pepsi reached out and they say that we have a Live Inside the Pulse campaign coming and we want to do a photo experience. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so y'all can see it. And so Pepsi has launched a new global logo and can design, marking a bold step in the new era of the brand. With the redesigned globe, which is what they call their logo, the globe, stronger color contrast, and the introduction of the Pepsi Blue, Pepsi Pulse motif, Pepsi seeks to push beyond traditional advertising and invite fans into its new world. Alongside video, web, and campaign rollouts, Pepsi will activate a live photo experience at key cultural events. So this is very similar to an email we would get from an agent essentially saying that that Pepsi is going to be launching a new thing and they want to do 85 music festivals across the country and they have $1 million to do it. So that's how it usually starts. By the end, it's like they're doing 4 festivals and no dollars. Those of you who work corporate know that feeling, putting in all the work and then things get dwindled down. But nonetheless, so that's where we're going to start today. So I went and put in some bullet points. The objective is to create an immersive social first photo experience that introduces and celebrates the new can design, brings that Pepsi Pulse motif to life around participants, positions Pepsi as a bold, confident, unapologetically iconic brand, generates instantly shareable social content that amplifies the new look. So the concept that I came up with is to step inside the Pulse. Instead of having physical build-outs of cans, we can use digital to do this. So guest steps inside a circular photo booth inspired by a Pepsi globe. The new Pepsi can, giant 3D sculpture version of the dynamic projection is the centerpiece. The booth is wrapped with radiating pulse motifs. Participants stand inside the Pepsi circle frame, becoming part of the logo. Captured content features motion graphic overlays, etc. And then we get into the design language. So I'm going to actually scoot down here and we're just going to pop open these pages. We'll let them load for a moment. I've already pulled these brand assets, but we have the typography, which is bold geometric. lighter geometric for secondary. Headlines should feel really heavy and clunky. You'll see in a second. And then we have their color palette. So we're going to be pulling from these colors in a little bit. Their colors are actually relatively light. They're relatively few. They have their blue, their electric blue, which is the new Pulse, the Pepsi red, which we all know, and then black and white. So fairly simple color patterns. So here's that new can. I'm going to scroll kind of quickly through this so we can just kind of get the idea here. There's that big clunky font, a second clunky font. We're seeing their color patterns, some video, some new ads, but really this sort of like clunky blue. It's extremely refined. I'm sure they paid zillions of dollars for this, but it's very rudimentary in design as well. So we really want to take that look and feel into the photo experience that we're about to create for them. Next up here is some more brand assets. I went and pulled a lot of these already. So we have them, and I don't have to pull them now. But for example, you can just see how they're representing their new logo. You can see their logo history, so where they've come from, where they are now. This is that pulse they were talking about. And this is a beautiful rendition of everybody fighting over what the new logo should look like. And I'm sure this was staged and those are models. But you get the idea. So we're really starting to showcase this new look and feel for Pepsi. So for our next step, I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to go ahead and share a screen, a full screen. So things are going to be a little bit small, but the good news is I'm doing this on my small screen this time versus my big screen. So I think that we're going to be able to see things better. I just want people to be able to really see as we create things, how they are reflected on the front end as well. Does anyone have any questions yet? It gets lonely up here. No one has cameras on. So if I ask if anyone has any questions, just turn on your microphone and say no. And I might cold call on some people to see if they do have specific questions as well. So I'm going to pop in here. So we're on the Pictor homepage of the app, and I'm going to create a new event. I'm going to make sure it's an advanced event, and I'm going to call this Pepsi Pulse. Create the event. And now I can go right over here and I can preview. So I'm actually going to move this over to this other window, and I'm going to open this up. And you see here, we got literally a blank canvas. So as I pop this over here, let me see if I can do this in a slightly better way. Okay, I'm going to pull this over here. And I'm going to start doing my global settings. So we have the ability to set settings on each and every flow stage. Let me take it back one step. We call this our flow. So the flow starts at the top, ends at the bottom, and each one of these are flow stages. They can, for the most part, move in any order, but some things do have to happen before others. So for example, the photo needs to be taken before it's previewed, but we can get the sharing information before the photo is taken. Things like that. So I'm just trying to, there we go. There we go. There we go. Neat. Okay, so let's start with our global style settings. So in this document here, I have some of those colors. And let's start with our modal. So our modal right now has two functionalities. You'll see here, let me go ahead and do this. Let me add text here. So title, we'll save this. We're going to go back over here and you're going to see that title appear in our blank canvas. So our modal has two parts. We have the actual modal, and then we have this sort of screen that can cover up behind. It's kind of like, can be a transparent layer or a translucent or even an opaque layer. So going into our global style settings here, I'm going to go to my modal and you'll see what I mean. So let me start by just adding a background image. So I'm going to upload, and I'm just have a bunch of stuff on my desktop that could work for this. So let's say this is our background image. I'm going to save this. I will refresh over here, and you're not going to see it yet because we have an opaque layer on the top of this. But I can go here now to my modals, to my background color, and make this 25% opaque. So 75% transparent. Save this, and now you'll see that start to appear. So once again, let me just show you a change on that. So let's go back to this modal, and this time let's make it 90%. And just so we can really see it, let's make it an obnoxious green. Save it, refresh. Cool. Get the idea? And let's bring that back down to, let's say 25, just so we can see that transparency again. We'll refresh over here. And ta-da. So now we have what looks in this case like a color wash. So I'm going to go back here now, and I am going to do a few things. So first, I'm going to remove this background completely. So I'm just going to make this 0%. Don't want that there. So let's see how that looks. Great. And now I'm going to start emulating what we have here. So they got these blacks and these blues. That's kind of the vibe we got going. So I'm going to now go in here, remove the background. I'm going to pull a branding item. So let's add a logo. And so once again, I pulled these earlier today. But typically, if you're working with a client, they would give you all these assets. So we're going to add this logo. I'm going to make the background black. I'm going to save that. And you're going to see this start to come together. Let me pop this over here. Okay, cool. So we have our sample live preview here, which is slightly covering. Going back over here, you're going to note that there's a little bit of rounded edges, but for the most part, things are really like blocky. So what we can do is keep this looks like maybe a 10 degree, or yeah, 10 degree. But here it's really blocky. So what I mean by that is right now, I believe we have a 20 degree on this modal, but we can literally match without any code the exact corner radius. So let's try 10 and see if that gets us closer. And when you're working with a client, you would get a design guide that tells you all of these things. So that's getting closer, but it may even be, let's try 5. There we go. That's a lot more like it. And now I'm going to do something neat. Is I'm going to go in here to our background, and I'm going to add in that pulse we keep hearing about. Okay. And on that note, once we've added this pulse, I'm going to go back to my modal, and I'm going to make this a black, but I'm going to give it just the teeniest bit of transparency. So let's make it 85. And now let's make our modal text white to start here, just so we can see in there. And let's save this. Let's refresh this. And now you'll see we have this killer background with video there. And we're mimicking all of the other situations. So next up, we have that font we want to match. So I did some digging, and I know that this font is called Owners, which I pulled, and we want to pull, and I'm in a big modal here. So I'm going to do extra black. And I'm going to upload this custom font. We're going to use that. And I'm going to go back to my style guide here. And I know that this Pepsi Blue is this color. So I'm going to go to the title. We're going to make this that Pepsi Blue. We're going to make our subtitle Pepsi Pulse. Actually, in this case, because we're working on blacks, I'm going to go Pepsi Blue for that. And I'm going to go for their white, or let's try their red. Maybe that'll look nice. Their red for subtitle, and then their white. I'm going to save this. We'll go back to our preview. And you're going to see this all start to come together. So we're going to add title, subtitle, body, text. And let's call this Pepsi Pulse. Save it. You see that start coming together. Cool. And I'm going to pull over here. Oh, you know why? I think it's pop back over here. We got to match this Pepsi Pulse color here. And you'll see this starting to come together real nice here. Oh, there we go. We got to look into why we're not getting that color change. So for the time being, let's go back and we'll swap the subtitle to be Pepsi Pulse Blue. And so this is brand new. So we are going to see some of these little things and we'll have to go back and fix them. And there we go. So now we have our touch screen to start the experience. I'm going to go ahead and actually turn this touch to start into a button now. So let's save that. And you'll see that change right over here real quick. And we're going to use this Pepsi Pulse Blue now for the buttons. So once again, I'm just showing you that you can change every aspect of these without any code. And so I'm going to make this secondary button white. Let's make sure that's 100%. We'll make the text on this 100% white. Great. And the borders on these buttons, if we're going to match their site, are pretty similar here. But you'll see we got these like big honking buttons. So it's maybe even a little bit more. But for the sake of now, I think we're good. But here, let's make it 30. So we're getting a little bit more pill shape here. Cool. So now we have that. So we have our first page. And now it's time to go in to start to create our event. So before we do that, let me just pull some suggested text here. So let's pretend we want to have this. I'm going to move this here so we get that in blue. And let's imagine that they have a very specific logo or something that they want to appear on this page. We now have the ability to also add something like this. So I'm going to go into my modals. I'm going to go into my assets that I pulled. And I'm looking for something that might be fun. Let's try this. Let's see how that operates. So now we have the ability to add a hero image as well. So we're really branding this. And I think it's gotten a lot busier than I had initially intended it to. I love that pulse in the background, but I'm going to go ahead and make this modal now 95%. So we have just the faintest amount of movement behind it. We get the depth from it, but we're not distracted. We can really see that text right here, everything we want. Neat. So now let's go into our next step. Say, for example, we want everyone to be able to watch a movie that describes what the, I don't have it on this version of it. We do have the ability to add an external screen, which is coming to everybody's accounts soon as well. and I thought I had it here. So the way that works is you can have an external browser window. So you can embed a YouTube video right here, and you can have a timeout screen. So people have to watch the whole video before they can go to the next screen. If we have some time at the end, I'll wrap around and show you that after. But for now, let's go ahead and create our experience. So I'm going to go ahead and create a template, create new, and let's go social first on this. So let's go 1080 by 1920. I spent some time earlier today creating some assets, and I'm going to call this Pepsi 1. And I'm going to go ahead and upload an image. And I prepared some overlays. And where did I save them? There we go. Okay. I'm just going to upload some assets here. And occasionally I save things to the wrong place because I'm human. So let me go ahead and get this asset again that I created. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. Cool. And I'm going to save this as Is everyone with me? Does anyone have any questions? Ian, am I going slow enough?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Great. And so now we have some different varietals here. So I'm going to go ahead and I like this one a lot as an overlay. I like this as what we could use our like green screen. And then there's also this a little bit more subtle where you can like just pop your head in. Ian, since I know you're quick to respond, do you have a preference of which overlay we use, the full can or the circle?
Maybe the full can.
You got it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add the base can to the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and also now add Ian's choice of the full can. And the reason I did this at the same time is just so I can move and resize these together. And hold shift and that'll keep them steady. I also like to use our position. So you can make this width of 1080, 1920, 00, whoops, I had an extra 0. And this is going to make sure all your math lines up. So I can go ahead and do this again. So I love being able to design by coordinates. And then I can go ahead and add a capture. So we're going to want this to be also 1920 by 1080. I'm going to be a little bit sloppy about this because we're going to pop it behind the can in a moment. Great. And I'm going to go back to my layers and I'm just going to move that between. Cool. And then to add a little bit more fun to this, I'm going to grab my capture. I'm going to add an effect to it. And in this case, I'm just going to remove background. We have a premium background removal, which at the moment does require tokens, or I should say at the moment maybe doesn't require tokens, but will. And then we have local. I actually just recently did an event, and I think that the quality of the premium is better, but going up to the cloud and coming back down is not necessarily worth it. So try both and let us know what your preference is. Let's go ahead and save this. Oh, you know what we can do? We can also add another image right to the top of this. I'm just realizing now we don't have a logo. So let's add an image. Let's see, let's add this Pepsi logo. And let's shrink it down and let's maybe do this. So it's sort of like on and off. Let's rotate it a little to give it a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of movement. And then if we wanted to, we could go ahead and add text as well. So since we're going to add text, why don't we go ahead and use that special font? And maybe we just call this, let's say, Pepsi Pulse is here. And let's make this that Pepsi Pulse Blue. Where's my, there it is. Great, and let's go ahead and center that and let's fill the screen with it. It's a nice, real clunky font. I don't love it, but it is their choice. Cool. Anyone else have any recommendations before we go through and test this guy? Okay, I'm going to call on someone. Ishmael, any recommendations? Okay. Oh, there he goes.
No, not particularly. I will defer.
Okay. Rick or Ricky, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Cool. So I'm a frequent saver because I also am known to accidentally refresh pages. So now we have choose experience. So I'm going to show you this just with title, subtitle, and body. And we can come back in and update those later. So effectively our flow, which is top to bottom of the experience. So walk up to the booth, starts the flow, leave the booth, ends the flow. You can do things in multiple orders, as I mentioned. And you can have a title and settings for each screen, which gives you the real ability for when a client's like, I needed to say this on this screen to do that. We have that all the time. We don't necessarily agree with the request, but we are able to do it now. So let's touch the start. And ta-da, here is my photo moment. I'm going to start this timer and then I'm going to get far enough away to fit on that can. And oh, look at that. We're previewing the output. Check out this cool Pepsi ad while we do that. And then here we go. So does anyone have any questions about what just happened there?
Looks good.
Yeah, looks good, but the overlay, Nick, I thought you wanted only the overlay for the full cap, like the full blank cap.
Oh yeah, so what we did was we actually, if we go back to the overlay, hey, this is Francis from the OutSnap team, by the way. He works on our sales team. So if I go in here and I go back to edit this, what we actually did here, Francis, was we added a background removal so that now we appear inside that sort of can area. If I go ahead and let me grab that layer. Oh, and I have an idea. I'll show you why this is cool in a moment. But for now, let me go ahead and show you the difference here. So let me go back to the settings. Let's remove the background removal. Remove the background removal. Add the unbackground removal back in. Okay. And then let's take another one. So I'm going to finish this up. And now I'm going to refresh this and we'll see not Taylor's version, but Francis's version. Okay, so Francis, I'm going to get far enough away. And now you're going to see, I'm going to fill that full can.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
Thank you,
Neat.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. So now, if we wanted to go into Photoshop, let's see if we can actually do this. Okay. And I don't know if it's going to let me do this here, but the generative AI in Photoshop is amazing sometimes and finicky other times. But we could say, for example, remove Pepsi logo, make can metallic, and see what happens here. And you're gonna, this ride may get a little bit ridiculous in a second. So next thing I'm gonna do is duplicate. Well, let's check here. Okay, I like that one. I'm going to now flatten these two layers, duplicate them, and now I'm going to go and select this object, select this can, and I'm going to delete everything else. So now we just have this can. And now I'm going to remove the color from this can. Looks like we still have one more layer here. And I am going to now add some transparency to this. So let's say, let's make it 80% transparent. And I'm going to just, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a screenshot of myself up here because I just want to play with some modes here real quickly. So now if I go to this can, I think I want to. Screen is too much. Soft light is kind of nice. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to export this can. I'm not doing good file management here. I'm just calling it can black and white. And I'm also going to go here and export my blank can. Now I'm going to go back into this. I'm going to duplicate this just so we can have both. And now I'm going to edit our duplicate. And I am going to now go to image, add image, upload the black and white can. I'm going to also upload the blank can. And I'm going to add the blank can here. I'm going to position this at 1080, 1920, 00. Great. I'm going to add another image, which is our black and white can. I'm going to also position this at 1080, 1920, 00. I'm going to now go to the settings on this, add an opacity layer. Sorry, not an opacity layer, a blend layer. But let's leave opacity because we'll probably want to play with that still. We're going to go to soft light. I'm going to go back to my can order. So believe it or not, let's move view up here. We have the ability to label these now, which is really nice. So can do that. Probably should have been doing this in between. So, okay, we're going to call this, and Command Z works also, by the way. So this is our black and white can. Pepsi Pulse, oops. Image, which one are you? Okay, we got to move some stuff around. Black and white. Da, 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 da. Okay, what I want actually right now is this guy. So now that we have you, let's go here to layers, your image. You are called can outline. And while we're here, let's also just name all these other ones so we can. So this is can with logo. Capture. Okay, cool. So now I'm just gonna pop everything back where it belongs. At 0, 0. Oops, I did a select all. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm gonna get these in the right order now. So I'm gonna just get my blank can. And I want blank can here. And maybe it may be easier to delete these and put them back in. Okay, we have our blank can at 0, 0 on the back. Now we have our capture. We have what we want our black and white can. Over the capture. And then we want our can outline on the top. And then we want our Pepsi Pulse. Oops, that's the text. Our logo on the top again. There we go. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope I didn't confuse everyone. I definitely confused myself there for a minute. Okay, and now we're going to go back to our layers again. We're going to get our capture. We're going to go to those settings, and we're going to do remove background. Great. Save those changes. And now let's just make some funny text here. Become part of the pulse. Step right up and choose your can. And if you have body, great. If you don't have body, you don't need it. So let's go ahead and refresh this. We're going to do our copy. And I'm going to go back over here. Let's play that Pepsi Pulse screen again. And so on the virtual experience, the simulator that we're looking at right now, this is all happening in the cloud. With the experience as you would do it at an event, you can do the local background removal. So you wouldn't have that pause that we just had there. So here we go. We got me on a Pepsi can. And if we wanted to go one step further, you can do cool things like, let's duplicate this one more time. And let us go back into these layers real quick. I promise it won't turn into that same mess again. But I want to move the can outline behind the black and white outline. And I want the capture on the top layer now. And then I want to take the logo. Oh, sorry. I was like looking at this screen and being like, why aren't things moving? I want to take the logo and actually put it behind the capture. And so what I'm effectively doing is it's going to be over the can, but behind me, but also behind the black and white can. So it's gonna have depth, and we can also do this with our text. So say we wanted to do just like a quick text thing here that said like pulse, and we want this to be in white. We could have this now. So in some places, it's in front of the person. In some places, it's in front of the person. And in other places, it's behind the person. So what I mean by that is you're getting this sort of layers of different things. So let's move this now behind the capture. We don't see it here because we're not getting the background removal, but we can do another here. And maybe that goes behind the person, or no, we'll leave that in front. This one will go behind the person. And let's save those changes. And test over here. So we're going to refresh this. And pop in here. And now should do a longer countdown so I can get into position. And I love this, that graphic just happened to kind of look as if it was you know, making an image because of the way it's pulsing. But here we didn't do a lot of time on this and I didn't quite get it right. But if I was in this area, I would have gone over this pulse, like I've gone over the Pepsi logo, etc. So this gets very cool because as we release our we release our timeline, you're able to make things literally pulsate and move around. So things could be behind someone and in front of someone, frame to frame, etc. So moving into some of these other steps, we could go to our preview output, which is what we currently have on the screen. And let's go ahead and now add in a share output. And one of the things that I really love about what we set up is getting that email address is in some cases more important to our clients than getting the photo. So what we can actually do here now is save this, but instead here, I'll show you once so you can see it, what I mean here. So we have our flow stages. And typically you get an email address after the photo is taken. But if we, which is what we're going to see first here. So let's go back here. Actually, let's go. I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to try and fill up that full can so you can better see what I mean. With those layers. So you'll see how pulse is behind me in some places and in front of me in others. That's what I was trying to do before, but I didn't do it super effectively because I'm in different parts of the can, etc. But you get the idea, and you're probably like, shut up, show me something else. So I will. But going into here next, we have our share. And while we're here, I just want to pause quickly and remind you this exercise was really to go onto this page and make something that looked and felt like their new branding. Does everyone agree that we've gotten pretty close without any code? This is when everyone turns on your microphone and you go, ooh,
Yep.
Ooh,
press.
Oh.
No, I think it looks great.
Thank you. And so there are so many little subtle things that we've done. And this one I think is one of the biggest. So we can move share output. I don't know if you see it, but this is the one that I'm moving. I can move that to anywhere in this experience. So for example, in order to start the experience, you now have to put in your email address. So for example, this right now isn't required, but let's make it required. So now you step right up. In order to drink a nice cold Pepsi, you have to put in your email address. And so what this means is we can move things around. So if you're doing a video, for example, that has a pretty heavy lift, we're working with a client right now, the video is going to be over a minute long, which means that the render is going to be a significant amount of time. So if we take the video immediately and then have people do all the other steps, it's rendering the video behind. So for example, in this, if we were to be creating this incredible pulsing video, etc., we could make people, after they record their video, watch a video about the making of Pepsi Pulse. While they're watching that video, we're actually creating their video in the background. So it's all just subtle misdirection. So, and then we get to the choose your experience page. And now you'll see, once again, I don't need to put in my email address at the end of this. It's just going to go back because we've put in the email address at the top. Cool. So that is a lot and a little that I've showed you all today. I know it's probably a lot to take in, and it's all a lot of really subtle things. Does anyone have any particular questions about controlling any of the specifics or matching anything? Or just anything that I totally confused you about?
No, I have a question about where you were saying how they can put their share input in at the beginning.
Yes.
So then they have their creation like that. So obviously if it's a video, we can you can skip this finish step. Like if they don't want to wait to see the preview. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I like that. That's nice. Then they're
Yep.
not standing there at the booth waiting on.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So at Outsnap, most of our clients, and for those of you who don't know, Pictor is the software that Outsnapped has created for Outsnapped and for everyone else to use. And it's based on all of these requests that people have had for us, our clients have had for us. And the reason why we started this software is because we kept going to the other software platforms that we loved and saying, hey, we really need this. And they kept telling us we didn't. But time after time, we had clients asking us for things. So for example, just like you were saying, Adam, we're doing a video and maybe it takes 45 seconds, a minute to render, but we live and die by numbers at that event. No one needs to see the video on the iPad. They're going to get it on their own device. They'll get it even faster if they walk away, right? So by doing that stuff in the background and skipping the wait for the preview, you can now move through double people. So if it's a 10-second capture plus put in your email address, that's 30 seconds. But if the render was going to be 45 seconds a minute, you're now moving 3x, 4x the amount of people through your experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's, honestly, we've done some just video output to see how many people would use it using some of the Snapic, and they don't want to sit and wait. You know what I mean? Like if somebody notices it's taking a long time, they won't use that experience the next time they step up to the booth.
100%. Not to
Yep.
mention people waiting in line, tapping their toes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so we've really made it so that you can skip a lot of these things. Yeah, 100%. So if something can happen in the background, it should happen in the background, is my personal opinion. But that's my 2 cents. We also now are looping back up to the top here. So we can create, for example, another thing here, and we'll call this a text screen. And let's just say, thank you. Grab a cold Pepsi on us. And then give them some direction. So like turn around and walk 300 feet to the free Pepsi machine. Adios. And you can put really in almost every single field within our entire ecosystem. Instead of doing translations, we just let you put whatever you want there, right? So for example, maybe Pepsi has a thing where they never use the word buy. It's in their brand guidelines, who knows why, or complete stranger things have happened. And so now you'll see that if we do this experience together, let me refresh it. I'm putting in my email address to start. I'm going to go through. I'm going to take my photo. I'm going to go to next. Since I've already put in my sharing information, it's going to go straight to this. Thank you. Grab a cold Pepsi on us, turn around and walk 300 feet, and adios. Boom. So another thing, say, for example, they have some hideous border on their buttons. You can do this stuff just so easily. So you're going to see all of a sudden a red border come out on the button. Oops. Gotta change the opacity. In theory, I have to change the opacity. I may, oh, that's why I didn't put a stroke. So let's make it, actually, let's make it really obnoxious just so we can see it. There we go. Now we have a red border. So it's that simple, and there's that much granular setup. So you have, once again, the global settings where you could change everything for the entire event, but you can also on a particular menu. So say for whatever reason on the share screen, they don't want their logo, you can just remove their logo. And it will not be on that screen, but their logo will be on every other screen. So all sorts of different ways to do this. Or for example, if they wanted a different graphic on each page or micro call to actions that were graphics, etc. So neat. Well, I hope that was really helpful. We have a few more minutes. Does anyone have any questions about this? Let's start there. Rick, Ricky, Ian, Alex, Adam, Ishmael?
Nope.
No? Cool. Does anyone have any general Pictor questions? Anyone?
Well, I look forward to experimenting. I haven't, I caught you at PBX, and I'd love to, demo it a little bit, but it's a busy time of year right now for me. But
Totally
I look
understand.
forward to it.
Totally understand. You can use everything in Pictor for free. You just need an account. And the caveat on that is AI does cost credits. So you would pay for credits as you're playing with that. The only time you'll ever have to pay for Pictor is if you go to launch an event. So if you're making money, we're making money, essentially
Yeah.
is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Hi, Nicholas. Just a quick one. When you say you can use Pictor for free, is where you can actually set up an event, test it, and it's only when you launch it and say the event is now live that you start paying for it.
With our system, you can get into the back end. Like you could do every single thing that we did today. The only time you have to swipe your card is if you book the event and you're working.
Right.
So you can use the simulator that we looked at today,
Mhm.
but launch it on the iPad, you need to pay. We do have a test on the iPad functionality, but that will have a watermark on every image.
That's fine. That's fine. It was just while you're building the whole thing to test it and look at it.
Yep.
That seems fine to me. Yeah.
We're kind of the mindset that if you're making money, we should be making money because we've allowed you to do so. If you're not making money, please let's help you figure out how to make money. So we can make money.
You and me both.
Yep. I'll be honest, like we built this software to make money, but also to do absolutely incredible things. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
yeah, you bet. And if you have any questions while you're playing around on every single page, here, let me just show everybody this. Again, this is so important. So for those of you who put in the poll earlier today, those requests, almost all of those are in the feedback area. And if you go in here and thumbs up things that are important to you, so for example, PC compatibility, that's important to me too. You can also search this. So let's say, for example, glam filter. No one's put that in. So if that is important to you, you could say glam filters, etc. And as you're typing, if it thinks we have something similar, you'll be able to pick from it. So please do leave that feedback there. That's how we know what each and every person wants. And based on the vote counts on those, we will be implementing them into the roadmap. Next up is our support. The different pricing plans have different levels of support. So the not paid accounts have chat support with a 24-hour response time, conceptualized around the fact that you don't ever have an emergency because you're not at a live event. And then the pro plan has phone support. So those different options are within there. But yeah, please do hop in, ask questions. We're here to help. Let us know what's going to make the software better for you, because that's literally how we make the software better. We are by boothers for boothers. Legitimately, like I said before, we created this software because we kept being told by all of the other software providers that the things that we needed, we didn't need. And we had a clear need for them because clients kept asking for them. And so as we did this, we were really, really intentional about taking an extra, surprisingly a lot more time than I would have expected, time to make each section fully it's like a transformer, right? So like you can move things in different orders, you can leave things blank and they don't show up, or you can fill things in case you have a client who's like, we need it to say this on this page because legal said it and no one knows why, and now you can do it. Whereas previously we were losing, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with our corporate clients because we couldn't pass compliance or we couldn't pass legal and things like that. And I'm not saying that these requests necessarily make sense, but I'm also not a corporate lawyer at Fortune 500 companies. But I do know that we needed these features, so now we have them.
Nick, I've got just a quick question.
Yes, please.
About when you're actually running AI, what's best in your opinion? Is it best to use a DSLR or to use the iPad? Obviously, DSLR will get the better images, but is it sufficient?
So technically the answer is the better your input, the better your output. But there are also times where you may want lesser input, right? So it's going to depend on a per case basis. What I will tell you is on the outsnap side, we have found it negligible for AI, the difference between a DSLR and an iPad. 99.9% of the time. We are working on DSLR because so many people have asked for it. That being said, the cameras on iOS devices are incredible now. I was a photographer. I went to school for photography. I went into iPads really bitching and moaning. But I also did a lot of motion graphic stuff as a kid in school. And I would go to bed and I'd have an 8-hour render. And if my computer didn't crash, it would take 8 hours for me to run the thing that I worked on. And now an iPad can do a minute of video in 45 seconds. It's out of control. It's like a supercomputer at your fingertips, right? So when it comes to AI, I do not think that the DSLR is absolutely necessary. If you're doing something that's going to be an extremely high res output, yes, I would love a DSLR, but you really have to factor in operational costs, what you're getting out of it, why you're doing it. And there are also times where we legitimately will have a DSLR set up, so it looks like we're using a DSLR, and then we're not, because we want the pomp and circumstance of people feeling it. They want a strobe going off, but we're capturing it through an iPad just because it's easier and we're not really getting any extra value. So when we set up an event, we're really thinking about the experience for guests on site and what that output is, right? So sometimes you want to make it look and feel a certain way on site, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's actually how you're ingesting content or things like that. So
okay. Now I was just thinking more about when we're doing the drop-offs.
Yeah.
If people want that experience, can we provide it reasonably and expect to get a good output off it?
Yeah.
You answered my question. Thanks.
Yeah, we never do drop-offs or ship. We never do drop-offs or ship and deploys with anything other than just an iOS device.
No, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, same.
Too expensive.
Well, forget too expensive. Someone bumps it and it's out of focus the entire night. You know, so things like that.
I think, Nick, the question, at least the way I'm hearing it, is more like, does it matter for the AI outputs? And from my experience, I mean, because it's generating a new image every time.
Yeah,
I've tried playing with like really dark photos, really horrible photos, and the AI output comes out pretty solid regardless. So I
Oh.
personally don't know why people feel they need DSLR for AI. I understand for regular photos, definitely, but for AI, it doesn't seem to make a big difference.
I'm with you. And so all that to say that the photo quality input for AI does not matter as much as it would matter for for an actual photo output. Yeah.
Okay. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Well, we're about 10 minutes over, so we're gonna wrap here. If anyone has one last question, please shout it out. If not, thank you everybody for coming. So anyone have any last things? Rick, Ricky, Raul?
Nope, good.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for spending time with us. It means a lot. I know everybody's very, very busy. We really appreciate it. And I hope today's, I don't want to call it a course, I hope today's webinar was helpful. Is there anything that people would like us to do a webinar in the coming weeks, just so we can prepare things that are actually helpful for you? And to rephrase that, I think this was very helpful for everyone, but are there any things that people need an extra set of hands or help with, so we can plan around that?
One technical thing is DSLR coming soon?
DSLR is so soon that it hurts, but we're making it perfect before it's well, nothing's ever perfect. We're making it as close to perfect as possible. Just a little bit of behind the scenes about the things that we really nuance is figuring out, and this goes back to that like sort of pump and circumstance question or answer that I gave a moment ago. We're working on now how to secretly start focusing before people get to that button to press the capture. So without getting into a lot of detail around that, there is a delay if you hit capture and then wait for focus. So we're figuring out different ways to play with that. So the functionality is there, and we're playing with it on our staging servers, and it should be very, very soon. I don't ever like putting a date on it because it was also very, very soon at PBX. So
Sharing station and slideshow, how do you feel about those?
we have a fully functional slideshow already. I can show you that right now, actually, with this. I think that would be really fun. And sharing station, this is like how much I'm in the weeds. I think sharing station might be live already, or if not, it's coming in like a sprint or two. I know that we used it at Outsnapped for an event, so that's another thing. Outsnapped uses a lot of these things that we build, and we battle test them. You know, I know Rick has been asking for the print server over and over again. Outsnapped has been using it at live events and slogging through it. It works. It's not beautiful, and we're getting it closer and closer to beautiful. That's also, I don't want to put a date on it, but like any moment away. Like we're waiting on similarly a few things. There we find the DNP. So the DNP printers are very, very finicky, and they were not loving the quality of image we were sending, or it's over my head. The DNP printers work in microns, and there's 1,000 microns in a millimeter. And if you don't get the micron exactly the right number, it spits it back out. And so the SDK from DNP, no one cares about this. I'll make it quick. The SDK from DNP was rounding numbers, which meant it wasn't printing. But now it is. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to share that with you guys. So for the slideshow, am I sharing?
Yep.
Cool. It's here. Oh yeah, we do have sharing station, but let me quadruple check that's on everybody's account before I promise it to you. But yes, if it's not on everybody's account now, it will be in a week or two. And if you need it immediately, drop us a chat and we can get it going for you. So for example, we took some photos here. Let's choose the header image for this. Let's use that Pepsi logo. Let's use a background image. Let's use this GIF. And yeah, let's just use it so I can see it. Let's refresh the grid every 5 seconds. Let's do static end motion 3-1 cover. We also have the ability to put in interstitials, refresh them, etc. And I can show you guys something really cool too. Oh, here we go. So, yep. So the slideshow is completely live.
Sweet.
And this will resize to whatever screen you're using. Etc. So currently right now, this very moment at the US Open, we have done, I think probably we've broken 1,000 today, if not, maybe even more, AI avatars that are being displayed on a gigantic big circle screen that's a tennis ball and then flashes all these avatars that we're making. It's really, really, really cool. It's under NDA, or I would be showing it to everyone because I'm so proud of it. But yeah, the slideshow functionality is super, super great. And especially for those of you who do AI events, I think the slideshow is the best bang for your buck for an add-on because it answers 1 million questions about what's about to happen and what to expect.
Yep. I'm assuming that the sharing station is going to take whatever you set up for like either email or text or both.
Let me just peek under the hood.
It does. The share station does show on mine. So
yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so then yes, exactly. And it also has, I'm just looking at it now. I haven't played with it since it's been live, so I didn't want to comment on it, but it also does have all of that non-code coding stuff available. So you can set your background. So, but I do believe you need to run it on an iOS device. So I can't display it here. But yep, it's here. And so yes, Rick, that's live. Enjoy. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for attending. I really, really appreciate it. Rick, give that sharing station a try. Let us know what you love and hate, everybody. Please provide feedback. That's the only way we know what you're thinking. And we can't wait to see what everyone makes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye, Ann. Bye, Ricky. Bye, Rick. Bye, Adam. Bye, Alex. Bye, Ishmael. Bye, Raul.
Thanks, Nick.